Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Overwatch Season Semi-Finals. I am Red Ninja, and joining me today is K-Wing. We got an exciting matchup today for you guys, and K-Wing, I'm gonna hand it off to you.
Yeah, we have a really exciting match today. We have got Marmora's Esports and their team Marmora's Descent facing off against Genesis Reborn. Two teams, two organizations that are very close. In fact, this match is being streamed on both of their Twitch channels. And two teams that have a bit of a grudge against each other, with Genesis Reborn currently up in that sort of series, if you want to call it, and Marmora's Descent looking for a bit of revenge now into the semifinals. Really exciting to see these two teams face off, and what'll happen if we can see some revenge come through, or if Genesis Reborn, if they're going to flex their muscles once more.
Very high stakes indeed.
Our first map looks like it's going to be Nepal. So we're starting off on control. Oops, sorry. Starting off on control, then going to escort, then to hybrid, then to push. Then we'd round it out on control once more. And if we absolutely need it, we would have a theoretical map 6 on an escort map. But as a best of 5, that's a bit unlikely to happen, though
Very
possible.
unlikely, yes.
It's very unlikely, but hey, if we go to Draws Row, or we get a good game on I Can Draw, who knows?
100%. Now, going into Nepal, tell me a little bit about these two teams and what you expect them to run on this first map. Like, give me a little bit of a rundown of what to expect here from these two teams.
Yeah. So with both these teams, with where we're currently at in the Overwatch Season Tournament, which is a tournament of masters and below, you're in that range when you're in competitive play of playing comfort picks isn't always the way to go. But if there's anything that we've learned from the Overwatch World Cup and the Saudi Arabian team, it's that sometimes comfort picks can work to even the highest of levels. So we're in that range where comfort picks are going to be less common, and we're going to see more of that meta play. And what that meta play could be is very map dependent currently, especially with the changes very recently coming through, the rework to Cassidy's Nade and to May's Freeze being pretty young, and those getting reworked in the past week. There's a lot that's currently up in the air for what we'll see, and it's going to depend on the sub map as well.
100%. And while we're still at it, Memoris Esports is running their own tournament as well. What was it called again? The Rainbow Tournament?
It is the Rainbow Cup, if I
The
believe. I'm just
Rainbow
gonna make
Cup.
sure. The Rainbow Open.
The
I
Rainbow
know what I'm
Open.
doing. The Rainbow Open. And that's those signups. They close actually tonight, so you have just a few more hours left to seal the deal.
100%. 100%. Now, going into this game, honestly, I like to kind of talk about like predictions, I know we're supposed to remain super, unbiased here up in the booth, but I kind of gotta know what is your prediction looking like for this match? You thinking a sweep 2-0, or you thinking Descent comes back? What are you thinking, K-Wing? Talk to me here.
Hmm. I'm not sure, and it's very hard to be impartial here, considering that we are sitting in the Marmora's Esports Discord. We were asked to be here. We volunteered here for Marmora's Esports, and we work with Marmora's Esports. It's hard to be unbiased, and it would seem a bit disingenuous to be like, "Oh yeah, I think Marmora's Esports is going to win." Hire me. It feels a bit disingenuous, but I do think that sometimes the hunger for revenge can be what sets a team apart, and what gives them just the ability to succeed. I think that Marmora's Esports might be able to pull this out with just a little bit. Like, I think I always hope for those close games because they're so entertaining. I think that we are going to come out with maybe even like a 3-2 to Descent. What about you?
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. 3-2 going to Descent. Again, I would also like to kind of keep my job a little bit. This is my first time being here. I'd like to keep it and not say, "Oh yeah, Genesis Reborn." However, it could go either way. I am thinking a 3-2 stat line. I think this is going to be a very long and very exciting game from both sides. And honestly, yeah, again, it can go either way, and I'm just excited to be here, excited to be casting with you, and just excited in general to see what these teams and these players have in store for us.
Yeah, it's an exciting thing. I do love like going through the predictions because it's with us both being like Marmoris esports casters. Technically, it feels like we're just like you know my prediction is that Marmoris esports will win, and they are a great organization and have great administration. Read this, or you never work with us again.
It's like,
Do
read
not read
this.
this final part. Oh gosh, yeah. Um,
And their
uh,
parentheses like, am I supposed to read this? No, no, okay. Uh,
$20 has been sent to your PayPal. We are not biased towards Marmoris Esports here. We will be doing our best. We do have our rosters as well. Starting off with Marmoris Descent, we have Spacebar, Seven Maples, Salty, Decode, or let me make sure that I'm getting that right. Decod and Naj and Nadjacha.
Nadacha.
Nadacha. Not
There
no.
we go.
We have the
Nada,
pronunciation. We're doing this right. Nadjacha. Nadjacha.
Nadacha. Yeah, I think Nadacha is
Nadjacha.
correct. Nadacha.
Nadjacha.
Nadacha. Not Nadacha.
We are professionals.
100%. Yeah, you can tell.
And then on the side of Genesis Reborn, we have Whimsy, Scrubbles, Budget, Jonos, and Ashes, as well as Anastasia in
Anastasia.
there as well to kind of have as a support. So we're
And
going actually to
actually,
Lijiang.
yes,
We had
Lijiang.
Nepal in the lobby, but it's Lijiang Tower. That's definitely very different. You definitely see some more brawl type compositions, especially on Night Market, which is our
Yeah,
first sub map.
beautiful gardens, as I call it. I know it's called Night Market, but I like to call it the gardens just because of that beautiful point right there, sitting right in the middle and starting off strong with the Symmetra. How do you feel about that pick with Genesis Reborn?
Yeah, I'm interested to see because you have the Farah coming in. The Farah is definitely boom or bust right now with the against that composition that you're going to be seeing coming from Genesis because
And
it could
we
either
are
farm
off.
them or it could be really, really rough to get to that point.
Oh, 100%. And we are off the start of the Overwatch season semifinals, a TP coming out from Scrubbles, and it looks like Genesis Reborn is going to be playing point here, spacebar on the monkey. Let's see what's going to be happening here. The Terrors come out, forcing bubble from spacebar, and it looks like Seven Maples grabbing a pick. Salty follows up. Both supports are down on Genesis Reborn. Seven Maples coming in with the clutch, two down. Seven Maples on fire already. That is three picks going Seven Maples' way. Budget just jumping off the map. Nabrez coming out from Nadacha. A clean sweep right off the bat for Descent. Looking strong already.
Yeah, and I think that what we were talking about with that Farah definitely kind of came true. It is either boom or bust, and it absolutely boomed the side of Genesis Reborn. Seven Mipples on the Farah, charging up 76% to that ult. And what's more, just jumping in onto the back
Jumping in
line.
salty with
It's
the
going to be
pick. Sorry to cut you off here, but it looks like, again, Descent coming in strong. Seven Maples with the opening pick on 95%. to that ultimate. Scrubbles again, first one down. Whimsy on the Diva. 7 Maples just popping off. Another pick there, spacebar with the pick on budget. I think there's going to be another reset for Genesis Reborn.
Yeah, 7 Maples has just been doing incredibly well on this Pharah, like we've been talking about, and now coming into the ult game. I mean, look at these ult charges. Descent have 2 ults coming in, and they're within 15% of 2 more. And what do you got on the side of Genesis Reborn? You got maybe the Echo copy, maybe the Nano late in the fight, but you got to deal with 4 ults coming in from Descent, including the
Valkyrie
Barrage
does
from
get
7
a mount
Maple.
from Nadja. Already a strong start, 75%. This is going into last fight territory. Whimsy with the Diva Bomb almost. 7 Maples with another pick on Scrubbles to start it off. Whimsy has the Diva Bomb, is low though, salty. Pick on Janos. Alright, Budget does get a pick here, but Whimsy is demeched and dead. Budget on the Winston here, trying his best to get something done. Spacebar, able to take down Budget. Not a lot coming through on the side of Genesis Reborn, as that will be, oh, the last second touch by Budget. Can something come out? The Diva Bomb comes out and he actually gets DQ'd. Excuse me, DCOD, 7 Maples.
That was a solid one, but the Barrage is just on point, and eventually, with those staggers coming through, Whimsy is really trying to keep it alive. It's a 2v1 on the point, but eventually that will get bursted down. Round 1 going to Descent. Yeah. Let's not jump ahead right now.
I was about to say more. Round 1, not map 1. Control being a little on the side of you know, confusion for me a little bit, you know, like there's 3 maps technically. And here,
yeah.
I just call it space. I don't know technically what this map is actually called, but I just call it Spacer Room because it's very spacey.
It's Control Center, but it is quite spacey. You got Control Center, and our last one was Night Market. We don't call it Gardens because Gardens is another sub map. But we see more of the Brawl composition coming in here, almost mirrored. It's the Rein v the Ramattra, and that is sometimes pretty back and forth. Some people say that the Rein counters the Ramattra, some people say that the Ramattra counters the Rein.
Anastasia going down already to decode, excuse me. These names are gonna get me throughout the night, I'm telling you. I'm just playing a bit of poke here. It looks like Spacebar looking at going with his team. Form is out, wall does come out. Again, this Rein composition just doing what they do best. Scrubbles able to take out Decod's Immortality Field. Nothing yet, just kind of playing poke, and Scrubbles does get the first pick on the Spacebar. Budget able to get a pick, and oh, we're getting kind of opposite of what we got the first round, as Genesis Reborn does take the first fight.
Yeah, that fight was definitely a bit disorganized, and I think the big thing that set it apart was these Mei walls from Budget. That really divided the side of Marmoris and just forced it to just really forced a lot of bad positioning.
Something we didn't talk about, Janos had Window there, and Whimsy already has Shatter. And there we go with the Bastion, oh, just mowing down Window Bastion, the ultimate play. And oh, also comes out from Spacebar. Not a lot taken, as I say that he does get a pick. Spacebar with 2. Decod Janos, trying to forward out 39% to Genesis Reborn, as Descent does take the lead now. Take the point, excuse me. English is very hard, but we will, as the night goes.
We will indeed endeavor to fix our English here, as that teleporter going to be coming in, rushing over to the point with the Blizzard getting thrown into picks. That is as good as you can ask for. A bit of a late beat there from Nadja, on the Lucio, and just still really big commitment that's not going to get them much.
No, not at all. And that Spacebar goes down late due to being in that wall. Unlucky. And Janos got it, the late pick. And Janos has a second window already. We are 2 minutes into this round. He has already built up 2 windows. That is quite an achievement, honestly.
Yeah, and at this point, there's not a lot left there. There's
Oh,
the ult coming
Quincy.
in, but a big fire strike through the window. Decod just catching a really clutch fire strike, and you just have to pull back from Armoris.
Exactly, Janos reading my mind. Anastasia here with the beat, followed by Wenzi with the shatter here. He's looking to go aggressive. A huge block by Spacebar here. Wenzi in a bit of trouble. A huge beat comes out from Anastasia. Has all 5. Decog goes down again to Wenzi. Janos able to take down Spacebar. Wenzi with the 2 picks. And again, Morris is going to have to back up. Janos, 50% already to another. Oh, and this push here into the spawn as round 2 goes to Genesis Reborn. They did not like how round 1 went, so they just immediately went and 130 them going into round 2. This is close. This is close.
Yeah, it's definitely been back and forth, and we've seen some interesting differences on the Pharah comp being a very powerful tool of Marmora's Descent, whereas this rush composition, if it's pure rush v rush, it tends to be pretty good for Genesis.
Now, Wenzi's switching here to the Jungle Queen, and Scrubble's going to the Sombra. Looks like Budget might be going on the Tracer, but is going to be TPing his team out. What do you expect out of this Jungle Queen comp going into this final round? What do you expect his teams to be looking for, and just in general, what do you expect them to be doing on this last round?
Well, the Jungle Queen composition is definitely going to be trying to take position onto that point, but Anastasia is going to catch a stray rocket right to the face.
Seven Maples 2 down already. He's looking for more here. That's 3. 7 Maples just tearing it up, and this Pharah, if you're Genesis Reborn, you have to switch to something that's not a Sombra Tracer, correct? Like, or else you're just gonna let 7 Maples in your backline the whole time. And again, 7 Maples, 53% after first fight to his ultimate.
Yeah, and that is comparable to the Tracer and the supports on their team.
7
really
Maples
incredible.
Again.
Wow.
Pick on Anastasia. Anastasia
amazing.
Not having the time. 7 Maples doing his job. Able to get Janos. 87% on Barrage already. That is just incredible. Decod able to take out Budget. Says, get out of my face. Decod with the 2k as well. And again, just Genesis Reborn does not seem to be able to know how to take care of this Pharah. And I can't blame him. 7 Maples just doing what he does best.
This is a good swap, though. I like the swap from Budget and Anastasia to go on to the Echo Mercy combo. Echo Mercy does tend to have that advantage versus the traditional Pharah Mercy when you're talking about this aerial duel, but with 7 Maples having that barrage, you gotta be so scared.
Oh, there we go. That's the one pick his team needed. And going in, well, Scrubbles is really low. Look it out. Nadaja getting the Battle Mercy, showing who's boss with the Valkyrie popped. Salty and Decod still have their ultimates with Spacebar on their ultimate as well. And it's just been a slaughterhouse with finally the first ultimate of Genesis Reborn coming from Scrubbles with EMP. Everybody else slowly falling in, but falling apart as well as 7 Maples again. Anastasia. I think they have some type of feud with each other because Anastasia has been the first pick almost every single time going into this fight.
Yeah, those main supports. Those main supports are absolutely using a big pulse bomb coming in. The EMP as well. They're using a lot of ults in there. A lot of ults.
Spacebar able to find Anastasia. Budget with the copy here. Budget taking out a copy by Salty. Budget and Anastasia dream team, but not for longer as Decod says nope. 7 Maples able to get another pick, and with the just clean up from 7 Maples and the whole team on Descent here, as I think they're saying GG for map 1. Wenzi still holding on a little bit. This is getting a bit out of hand, but no matter, says Descent, as map 1 goes to Descent. and just a slaughterhouse coming in from 7 Maples. I don't know how many kills he had, but he has to at least have 30. That is insane.
Yeah, that was a really great Pharah clinic that came out on those two maps from Seven Maples. Just the tree at the core of the forest that is Marmora's Descent. And right now, you have to wonder just how Genesis Reborn are going to be able to counter it, because they tried to take it in the air. I think the only thing they can do is try to take it on the ground, try and bring out the Soldier 76, the Ash Mercy combo. That is generally what you see when you try to counter the Pharah. You either win it in the air, you win it on the ground against the Pharah, or you try and win it on the ground. You take that 5v3 because there's 3 people on the ground. You take the 5v3, you ignore the Pharah, and you just push in. Good Pharahs will make it impossible to ignore, but sometimes that can be how you get that team off on the back foot.
Yeah, but you gotta think, with 7 Maples on that farm, what he was doing, I think it's one of those rare occasions where even if you ignore him, he's still gonna be doing work. You know, 3 fights in a row, he killed their backline right off the bat before they even got. Oh, sorry guys, we have a little bit of a production error here. We will be hopefully right back. Oh.
Apologies about that. I did have some technical difficulties on my end. Don't mess with your Discord audio subsystem if you don't know what that means. I didn't know what that means. I messed with it. But we're going into our next map now, which is going to be an escort map. And it looks like we're going to Circuit Royale. That's not in the map pool.
Not at all.
No, it's not. Our map pool, what we were told the map pool was Route 66, Rialto, and Junkertown for escort. So we'll have to see. Maybe we got a potentially out of date map pool. These players probably know the map pool for their tournament better than little silly old me, but we'll have to see. But let's assume that it's Circuit Royale for the moment. What are we thinking with Circuit Royale?
Honestly, with my opinion, I'm thinking rush comps again. Either running a Junker Queen or a Reinhardt, but those rush comps, especially on these escort maps, it's very much so. Again, it's very much so just rush heavy, and Poke could also be come out with Sigma and stuff, but if 7 Maples comes out with a Pharah, which this is a very strong Pharah map as well, with a Widow it is also a very strong Widow map as well, but I think coming out of both teams, I think we're either going to see a very Poke-like comp or a very Rush-like comp. What exactly, I do not personally know. That is, up to fate, but I honestly think if this was, in our map pool, something will come out that, on both ends will be very fun to play, very fun to watch, as well as very good. I don't know how else to put that, but hopefully I did a good job.
Yeah, I think what I've typically seen in the past few weeks when we're talking Circuit Royale is, even despite the huge nerfs to the fall off of the damage of the Hanzo, of Widowmaker, you still see the double sniper Widow Hanzo with the Sigma composition. That Poke comp still reigns supreme on your Circuit Royale.
Oh, 100%. And Hanzo's still being very strong, as we seem to be getting into the Circuit Royale map. A little weird here, but maybe just testing things out.
Well, regardless, it looks like we are going into Circuit Royale, and that is the map that we're going to get. So, treating this as the map, because it is, Circuit Royale is a very big sniper map. And so you have to wonder, is Seven Maples as good on the Hanzo or on the Widow as they are on the on that? Oh, well, that's an interesting change there. We did not expect that, because you see that exact composition that Genesis Reborn are running. You see the Sigma, Widow Hanzo, and then the BAP Zen. What you don't tend to see is the Reinhardt May Reaper. You don't see the traditional rush composition. That is not typically something that you see coming into these games. Now running into our first attack, Genesis Reborn are going to be in for quite the surprise when they come out and see a gigantic angry German man in a suit of armor pumping out the damage, but they're going to be pincered in between two snipers, and it's going to be only too long before they find a pick, one from one side, one from the other. This close hold will not get them anything there. Yeah, that was huge from the snipers. Huge.
And I like what they're doing here by I like what the plan was there by Descent. If you want to force at least 3 fights, hold their spawn. Even if it doesn't work, they already took 30 seconds off, and they're going into second fight. And I do like the Winsy pick with the Sigma here. Already 50% to his gravitational flux, budget as well with 62% of Dragon, and going into the second of fight, what can you expect as Ashes?
Oh, you can expect these snipers to go absolutely wild. The swap is there from Descent onto that double sniper composition, but they're behind in the ult. They're behind in the ult. Budget finds one, and it's just going to be a roll through.
But that is a perfect time to use his ultimate, as there's no sleep from the Ana. Gets 2, and that will be point A captured by Genesis Reborn, and that's just Ashes and Budget doing their job. They're like, ignore first map. We're gonna show these teams out. We're gonna show what we're really made of, and Ashy's coming in as a DPS sub, already showing his true potential. That's all I can say. You know, I'm honestly surprised he was a DPS sub.
Yeah, really showing just how powerful they can be. And now as they push forward, there is that amplification matrix from Janos, and it's already a pick pushing forward. Just incredible. As they're already pushing into point B, the staggers are going to come through. They're going to track that Sombra right down, and they could go in on this 4v5 right now. It could be big there. That's a
budget.
Wow.
Are super lucky to have knocked out pick there as well. Ashes for a pick here. Not missing a couple shots, but it's okay. Spacebar does get the pick that they need. 7 Maples follows up. 2K coming in through Spacebar, and the cleanup comes through. 7 Maples. Just 3K coming in there with the cleanup, and I think that was the breather that Lemores Esports needed, Descent needed, as they are now 3:30 left on the clock, able to finally hold them. Almost a capture of point B already.
That they are, and it's a huge pick on Anastasia just getting the headshot.
7 Maples with the EMP, both DPS on the side. So Bob does come out, forces out the trans. Winsy is anti. Bob melted almost immediately. The EMP does come out and is huge. It does grab 3. Janos, however, comes out with the mortality field. It's currently 1 for 1. Salty grabs a pick. Salty grabs 2. Salty putting in the work here that his team needs. The res comes out for 7 Maple. It is 5v3. Again, Descent looking very strong on this defense as they force Genesis Reborn to regroup.
That they do, and as you're looking at these ult charges, that swap was good for Descent to get into a better composition, but it's really rough for them in the ult bank because now they're just behind in terms of the economy as Genesis and Warnerbig becoming.
The Nano comes out from Decod. Nadaja as well has the Valkyrie. Ashes pops ult in return. Ashes gets finds 2, 3. Amazing headshot, 4. And that is a team kill for Genesis Reborn. 3:27 on the clock, going after point B.
Yeah, and into this next fight, a big investment coming out from Genesis Reborn, but it was matched on the side of Marmora's Descent. Both support ults coming out leaves Descent pretty much in the lurch. It's only Spacebar with that Gravitic Flux, and Anastasia has no Transcendence to counter it with. So if Spacebar comes out with an early Flux, but they might not be able to come out with the early Flux with that shot.
Lindsay find the pick on 7 Maples. Nadaja gets the res, but again, 7 Maples goes down. Anastasia. Janos with the window. Ashy's trying to look for the pick on Salty, as Salty does get the Baptiste. Janos, they're just sitting in this room, just spamming them out as they continue to push this payload, and it is a very back and forth fight right now. A lot of utility used and a lot of but also a lot of ultimates coming up.
Yeah, a lot of ults coming up here at this point, with Anastasia having that Transcendence, Winsy with the Gravitic Flux, and that's the problem with this composition from Marmora's Descent, is that they don't have any defensive ult. So Winsy's ult is going to come out, and the only thing that they can hope is that Spacebar will hit a clutch accretion and stun. But with 4 ults coming up and no defensive ults on the side of Marmora's, they need to have a bigger first ult. And the EMP!
EMP comes out. Anastasia able to get out the Transcendence though, but still 4 of them are hacked. The Nano comes out for Spacebar. Decode with the huge anti. That's 3 now. Gravitational Flux does come out. He is anti though, and Ashy's able to find the pick on Spacebar to stop that, but 7 Maples returns it. 4v4, a minute and 17 seconds left. This is a very strong defense that we saw, just like on point B.
A really strong defense. And with the ult advantage coming into this next fight, Budget only having the Dragon Strike versus the Bob, a really strong ult to stall on point, and the Valkyrie, which means this next Resurrection is nearly guaranteed, which means he can have aggressive plays like this. What a Bob into the back line!
I was confused on what Spacebar was doing, but I guess 7 Maples says Bob got you, don't worry. Janos able to take out the Bob, but that is actually a huge ultimate, wasting time now into last fight territory just based off of the plays that Descent has made on this high ground.
Yeah, into last fight, but with no ults. Closest ult is that Tracer Bomb with 50%. Even the Diva's at 25. It's going to be really rough in this next fight.
Winsy touching point. Rocking 7 Maples, not able to get much otherwise. Janos with the window coming out. Decod able to get Ashy, but in return, Budget takes out 7 Maples. Janos able to take out Spacebar here. Salty with the pick though, 2 for 2. Nadaja with a huge res on the Spacebar. Mech coming in. A lot is going on here, and it's hard to keep up. Budget with the pick on the Salty. 7 Maples does get a pick on Budget. Again, but we're in a 4v4 here on point. It's getting really close. Decod able to get the pick on the Winsy. 7 Maples taking out Anastasia. And Descent here, I think, are going to be able to hold with a nice right click coming in. And just the cleanup here, 89.47 meters. Able to not get the full cap, but pretty close.
0 to 2.
2 to
Pretty
0.
Pretty close indeed, but it does mean that you have that golden box of victory for Marmora's Descent. What started off seeming like a snowball, what started off seeming like a complete turnaround of events, might be, well, is very, very winnable for both of these teams. For both these teams, in fact, Marmora's Descent able to win it here by basically pushing to the end of the map. Genesis Reborn have their win condition. Just keep this payload safe, and the Pharah pick is back. You have to wonder, though, with Ashes on the Widowmaker, is that going to be the game changer? Because you do have some more long-range heroes here. You have the Widowmaker, you have the Baptiste with their hit scan weapons able to hit from very, very long range. That could be what makes Seven Maples have to play a bit less aggressive and play more around their team. It could be, and that is what you have to see. If Seven Maples is still in the kill feed, it could be disaster for Genesis Reborn. But if they're on the receiving end of some kills, then it might be lights out for Descent.
100%. And at top and all of that, there's no draws here. There's no draws. It's take it or leave it.
It's
All
possible.
It is possible. But they didn't full cap. I think you have to full cap on both ends in order for it to be a draw. And then you have to hold them in their spawn. Ashes with the pick there on the Salty. Good pick to start off. Descent running this dive against this poke, and you gotta think that if played correctly, Descent won't be able to get a dive off just because of the fact of this heavy poke coming in. They'd be half HP by the time they want to jump in, no?
Yeah, and they're really taking a lot of poke, and that is the fear here on the side of this dive, is that they're going to jump in and just be so low, because that's what happens when you're running the discomposition, is you can't take a lot of damage on the initial dive in, and you have to find this Ana. As already pushing in, headshot from Anastasia onto Seven Maples, and it trades on trades on trades on trades. Descent are just able to start this card rolling.
Yeah, and with that pick onto the Zen, you gotta almost kind of just back up because your Discord's down. That monkey's no longer gonna be melted as quickly as before, and Ashy's just hitting these headshots, these picks that are needed. Budget 97% to Dragon. Are we going to see a Dragon Flux combo in soon? Maybe a little bit early, but when he does able to get one, forcing
Forcing that Dragon Strike. I'm not going to get a lot of pressure in, but it's difficult there. As there comes the Pulse Bomb onto Ashes. Salty pick and pick onto Jonas as well. And Spacebar jumps in to clear off the point. Coming in like a broom at the end of the shift. They're there and cleaning it up.
Broom at the end of the shift. I love that saying, especially 4 minutes. Looking on this clock now as they are pushing on to checkpoint B. Winsy switching to the D.Va here. What do you think this D.Va pick is going to do? I know it's a very anti-dive, but with the Genji Tracer as well, do you think that this D.Va pick will at all be helpful in stopping this monkey dive?
I think that's the question. I think the slow switch to negate that damage is to negate the dive with the swap onto the Cassidy is a good one, but it's going to get hit by the anti-nade immediately as that first pick comes in, and we're just poking away now. A bit of a 4v5 situation with that first pick coming in. Spacebar has the Primal Rage, can go in and dive aggressively, as I've actually lost, I've lost my...
Yeah, a little bit, we've lost our eyes.
We've lost our eyes, but Salty is chopping through the entirety of Genesis Reborn. And it's Marmora's Descent rolling through off the back of a great blade. Wish I had seen it.
100% wish I was seeing it as well, but we saw the aftermath. It looks like Genesis Reborn may not be able to get a second touch in here. I could be wrong, however, Descent are looking to push it. Genesis Reborn actually...
Ooh, they get the contest.
They do, but that is a huge anti-nade.
Yeah.
Salty goes into back, but there is a bomb there and it gets Salty. Pulse
Yeah,
bomb
that's-
comes out, stick on the D.Va.
Yeah, that's a huge stick there. The nano onto the Winston is gonna allow him to dish out so much damage, taking out 2, taking out 3, demecking the D.Va and letting that cart just roll on through, racing like the race car it so resembles, because it is one.
Descent is showing us whatever you can do, I can do better. 3 minutes 50 seconds on the clock now, as they're going into the final point here, and they technically do not have to push it full way. They have about 4 meters of space in between fully capping and where Genesis Reborn left off.
Yeah, and now you're pushing through, and you're looking at two very interesting team compositions. You have the Kitsune Rush, which could be a really good aggressive ult to help you build up more on the side of Martin Morris. At that new magnetic grenade coming out, so terrifying. There's the Deadeye from Ashes. It's going to find something just a little bit right onto the Tracer. Just disgusting. And that sleep onto Anastasia to seal the deal.
Yeah, and Ashy's able to find that lucky pick. You have to think unlucky timing by 7 Maples. But as we get into here, we look at Genesis Reborn with both support ultimates. Budget coming in close, along with Windsor with both ults as well. Spacebar does jump in. That is a huge anti-nade.
What an anti! That's such a good anti-nade coming out. Naruto has been hitting those so automatic.
With the 4K! The nano
4K.
comes in clutch. 4, 5,
Picking up the
on
ace.
team kill. Ace, if you're a Valorant player as well, whatever you want to say, that is definitely play of the game right there, I'll tell you that much. That was an amazing play by Genesis Reborn. The nano into the ultimate, showing no fear on Budget's side. Again, Spacebar coming in with the Primal here, with the Kitsune Rush as well. Jumps into the back line. Nice sleep by Janos.
Yeah, and that is the fight decided. A few more fights could have sealed the deal, but right now with a big ult investment, Marmora's Descent is still sitting pretty in terms of the ult bank. They've got a big ult in Salty's Overclock. The nano could also be coming in to charge up Spacebar. We saw how deadly that they can be with that ult. She can absolutely run with the best of them with that nano boost, charge up that ult incredibly quickly.
Yes, and coming in here, Spacebar looking for something. I wonder what they're going to do with this nano here. Nanaja holding on to this nano. Nano's
It goes to the Sojourn!
Going to make it work. The Reaper ult coming out. Not the Reaper ult, excuse me. The nano coming out. Salty able to... And oh, Winsy!
The Goomba Stomp!
Goes the Salty. 4v4 now. Spacebar jumping into the backline is antied, however, does come out. Decod able to Nadaja, Janos. There's a lot going on right here. Spacebar. Excuse me, 7 Maples. For something, and again, Spacebar able to find the 7 Maples Ashes, but Ashes does get the pick on the 7 Maples here. Oh, this is a ballsy move here. Reaper beat Monkey.
Yeah, but it's just Staggers coming in. They can't do anything with it. They can't get a full team fight, and that's going to be Marmora's Descent going up 2-0.
Descent here, definitely, like you said, revenge is the best dish served cold. Spacebar with the play of the game here, and you gotta think about when you're playing that monkey dive into a Reaper especially, like how do you manage to keep yourself composed in a situation like that and still able to do your job as well as Spacebar did?
Yeah, I mean, Spacebar has been incredible throughout the entire 2 maps on the Winston. And we've seen some really great work from a lot of players on the side of Armora's Descent, but I mean, you have to point out Spacebar and Maples, though you can't forget Salty Nadach and Decad. All of these players are doing so incredibly well. Even the players that aren't popping off onto the kill feed have been doing some really amazing, amazing work. But we're going to take a quick break for us to catch our breath and for our teams to take a moment, fix some things, and come back in refreshed, repaired, and all new. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't change that Twitch channel. We will see you shortly.
welcome back everybody to Overwatch Season Semifinals. If you're just tuning in, it is currently a more Descent versus Genesis Reborn as we're looking at 2-0 in this best of 5 series. I am Red Ninja if you're just joining in, and join me as well, my casting partner and partner in crime, K-Wing.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm really excited to be hopping back into it as we're looking at a really exciting game here, because we came in and we said, this is going to be a very close game, a game you really thought was going to be 1-1 at the half, and it's currently 2-0 for Marmoris Descent. And what you have to realize here is that it is and has been incredibly close throughout this series, but it's still been 2-0 to Descent. So the question is, can Genesis Reborn get that little extra bit that they've been missing and turn it around and get us to a reverse sweep? Because that's what we need here. That's what they're talking about, Ninja.
100%, and I don't think it's not only can Genesis Reborn find that edge that they need, it's more of can they find a plan that they are able to stick to, because we have seen quite a few comps coming out from Genesis Reborn, while the Sen has really only, had 2 comps. They've had the Winston dive, and then they had the Rhine rush, and it seems to be working. Meanwhile, Genesis Room, they just kind of look lost on what to do, You have 7 Maples playing this, really great Ashe and this really great Pharah, and then you have, Decod able to play this really nice Ana, but also to play this Baptiste very well, and it's just weapons all around for Descent. And I think Genesis Reborn, while they have their talent going around everywhere on this team, I think they just have issues with, all right, how do we deal with Descent's weapons? How do we turn this around? And like you said, get that edge that you need.
Yeah, and I think coming into King's Row, our next map, is an interesting choice, but I do think it's one that's been supported by what we saw. The only time that Genesis Reborn really looked in the driver's seat, I mean, really, truly looked to be in control, was when it was Rush v. Rush. Marmoris Descent seems to be all too happy to alter when it came to that second round of Dijon. So now we're going into King's Row, and we have to play the quote-unquote honest composition of Rush. We might see a bit of a turnaround here. We might have to see Marmoris Descent work together as a team more than just some really incredible pop-off players.
Oh, 100%. And I think if you were to ask me, which team has shown more team play rather than just individual play, I'd give it to Genesis Reborn. But, either both teams are not really doing bad. It's just when it comes down to it, currently the team play is a little bit weaker than Descent's pop-off ability and their individual plays.
Yeah, now as we go into that opening bit of Rush, as these two teams pushing in, you just see how aggressive that Winsy is pushing in, and the members of Genesis Reborn are going in because they force positioning based just off of the fact that they're so aggressive. They force them to push back behind that hotel, but the re-engage, the re-push is back in, and Descent just have it. That Bastion was just the surprise that they needed.
100%. Spacebar with the cleanup in a 3K, followed by Decod with the 2K there, if I'm not mistaken. And Salty playing this Bastion role very well, as Decod is coming up on the window, followed by Janos and Wednesday as well with their own ultimates. But again, just looking at it, like we talked about, Descent, just individual play power is just overpowering these two teams. As Wednesday playing a little bit aggressive there. The wall does come out from 7 Maples. Decod has the window, still Salty with a nice right click onto Janos, and they're going to be pushing in. The wall comes out from Budget to force his team back, and that's going to be a reset here for Genesis Reborn already.
Yeah, and as you're looking at these ults start to come up, you're gonna see that Marmoris Descent, they have a lot more of their ults in total, versus Genesis Reborn, they only have about 2 or 3 of them, so Winzy needs to land a really huge shatter here if they want to succeed, as that first kick is going to go through. And there's the jump. The shatter from Winzy is canceled out. Spacebar is going to land that final blow, but Seven Maples will get traded out soon after. But the shatter is free, but Spacebar dies. It seems like these Reinhardts have accidentally bound their Q to instantly kill self instead of use the ultimate, because we haven't seen a shatter come out that's resulted in a kill onto the enemy team.
Budget here with the cleanup, and Genesis Reborn just turned that around. Their Reinhardt went down first, and the rest of the team said, it's fine, we just play how we need to, and unlucky by Spacebar, unable to get, you know, any picks off of that two-man shatter there. Anastasia with the boot able to finish him off, and, you know, it looks like not Seven Maples, Descent. We've been saying his name so much that I've been thinking he's part of the whole team. Descent over here wants to play this aggressiveness. They do have the lead coming in here, and that may all comes up with Maples with the wall
double
as well.
blizzard.
The double
That's all.
blizzard,
That's
but
4 people in it.
Salty cleaning up what needs to be, and that's going to be a reset for Genesis Reborn, as Spacebar is being pushed up with his Lucio just for the cleanup. Seven Maples able to get onto Ashes, which is a really, really good pick for the stagger.
Yeah, DQ on the map has that amplification matrix. Both sides out to which these Lucios can bring out the better beat, which one can have the best beat drop. But what is this? The turnaround. Warren decides to go completely around that, reverse the map onto them, keeping out on the Lucio, and at the big wall, just nasty big kills from Salty. Finished off that fight.
Salty with a 3K here, just immense damage being done to this team here on the Bastion. You gotta think, Genesis Reborn, they have to switch something up. This Bastion is just too good and too powerful, and in the hands of Salty is just beyond measurable. We're seeing the storyline Bastion come into play here. The wall coming out from Budget, able to wall off Spacebar, but getting nothing else done there. Winzy almost with the ultimate. Salty is going to ult here, trying to look for any sort of picks. Nothing is found. Does force out Ice King from Budget, and we're just kind of playing a poke a little bit here.
Yeah, there's the Deadeye. There's a Deadeye coming out from Ashes as they round around. That shield needs to be right in the way. Not even going to unleash it. The shatter catches Spacebar off guard. Seven Maples. The Blizzard gonna come out, but immediately countered by that beat. Even the wall can't save Winzy though, because that focus is too powerful. Big ice block, but it's Seven Maples. He thought Pharah was the only thing I could play. Seven Maples can do anything.
100%, and again, just the individual plays coming out from Descent is just too good, and Genesis Reborn is the better when it comes to team play from what we've seen, but they just aren't strong enough in that team play compared to just the individual personalities that Descent has. And Decon looking here with the window, the Budget does force out wall, and here is the ultimate. 3 frozen in it.
Such a great wall there coming in from Budget, just trapping them between a rock and a heart, between a death ball and a cold place, as that push is going to come in. The amplification matrix just to finish off the stragglers is an interesting late commit, but with those late picks, you can't argue with results from Genesis Reborn.
100% of Winzy just playing super aggressive, getting these picks in. Oh, 3 down, line them up, line them down. Or as I should say, line them up and smack them down. That's the 4K coming in.
Wow.
Just a little cleanup. Overtime capture for Genesis Reborn. 1 minute and 30 seconds left. What can we expect Descent to do with these last 90 seconds? coming into checkpoints.
I mean, with these next seconds, you have to watch this Earth Shatter. It needs to be big. There's not a lot of ults coming online. That's a big pulse bomb.
Ashes!
Absolutely huge to just shut down the Lucio, shut down the mobility, which means you can hit your speed boost and rush right in, take out that Bastion. What a shatter. Bastion's in the back. Just shut him down, take him out, get him out of here. Winsy, though, does get a bit too over-aggressive and will find themselves the victim of Spacebar. And now Spacebar potentially has a free shatter when they build it up, but they might not even need it for this fight.
100%. Both Mei balls came out from both Meis, but both Meis are also looking at Decod there, able to get Ashes out of his spawn there. It's really weird positioning there, but we'll go with it. Budget playing this sneaky position, looking for this Mei ult. Seven Maples also has a Mei ult of his own, but is spotted by Decod. Has to get down. Budget again, sitting on this Mei ult. And I wonder just how this last fight will turn out. With 10 seconds left, somebody does have to touch on Genesis Reborn, though. Not a whole lot of time here. Pulse Bomb does come out. Two here. Both Mei ults come out.
On the side of Ashes, that Mei ult needs to be big, and it just can't find anything.
Spacebar,
Those picks are
trying to do
in.
something.
It's big. Those pigs are really big with how close the spawns are for Spacebar and for Genesis and for Descent. Really absolutely important, and that'll shut it down. Really great. Good pin, not even looking to damage, just looking to get that Reinhardt away from the point. Social distancing, sir.
100%. A full hold here, not a full hold, excuse me, a hold on checkpoint C brings us to, well now, like we talked about in the beginning of the stream, no ties. So it's either Descent takes map 3 with the sweep, or Genesis Reborn comes out with that little bit of edge that they needed.
And that's the question here, is that we have a bit of a flipped script from what we had in map 2, where we had Descent struggling a bit, now needing to push forward. We now actually still have Descent needing to push forward, having
Hello?
that exact... Hello?
I have a question for tournament.
This is the live broadcast. That was fun. Anyway,
that was weird. Yeah, that's like seeing somebody on the somebody in the audience come down onto the pitch for a soccer game or something. Like that was very weird.
I'm glad that I hope that guy gets his question answered.
Yes, 100%.
I hope he gets his question answered. But getting into this, tell us what's going on.
Getting into this, we're running the exact same compositions. Winsy looking to play a little bit closer though on the statue here. Both grinds. Winsy's is huge though. As we're looking a little bit of a pin onto Winsy. Winsy sitting fine though. Budgie able to take out Decod's Immortality Field. And here we go with Winsy able to also get Decod himself. And Winsy just swinging away.
Charging up that ult incredibly quickly, mind you, but going to get a bit too aggressive, a bit too big for that big armored britches, and will eventually have to go back to spawn, though the fight is going solidly the way of Genesis Reborn.
Yes, and Winsy already on Shatter, looking to lap Spacebar with only 53%. Now, I'm not going to speak too soon, but already doubling an ult charge as we're looking here. Descent looking to go around for the back line, trying to find something to Bastion.
This Bastion is so dangerous, and you're just seeing them react to it with every single time it transforms. They have to disengage so heavily. Ash is getting walled up that he just catches Decod on that Baptiste with the Deadeye. A really clutch Deadeye to seal the deal. The Shatter will save him, and a big investment though coming from Genesis Reborn.
A big investment indeed. However, it was they do have almost three ultimates themselves coming up, so their ult rotation is very well planned out. And again, they are just playing as the better team play. And I think once they're able to shut down this individual play from Descent are having trouble as the window does come out. Spacebar getting to 100 HP, 1 HP. Winsy's
Whimsy just
oh.
takes down Decod, and Spacebar is no match. They're just no match, it seems.
It's a dream come true, it looks like so far. 1:40 seconds going into what looks to be probably the second or third fight before we get into last fight territory, and already Winsy with another fire strike kill. He says, I don't even need to be a sniper to be a sniper. Oh, and that just forces Descent to have to regroup already. They didn't even take a fight, and they have to regroup. Less than 90 seconds remaining. And again, they're going in.
They don't have many fights left. There's the Blizzard trying to wall them off to get something going. The Beat coming in. They're putting everything that they got, but the Blizzard freezes 3. If any picks come off of it, it's absolutely huge. The Deadeye from Ashes can't find anything, but the Deadeye from Salty is gonna find Budget, and it's gonna clean house. Really scary from this Descent squad, but they're eventually going to push through.
Yeah, and you know, you almost thought for a second there that, you know, that Mayo was going to be followed up on. 3 frozen, no kills coming from it, but Ashy says, I got it, you know. They don't need to be frozen. I'll still throw them up and throw them down even when they're thawed out. And it looks like Winsy and his team are going to take a different approach. Instead of holding close, they're going to just try and take the space that Spacebar is taken already super low on Spacebars, and no ultimates on the side of Descent. While meanwhile Genesis Reborn has his window and has the Shatter at the ready for whenever they need it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. There's the fire strike coming through that window. A lot going on. Winsy with that ult, just waiting to throw it in. Ice Block gonna come out, and everyone's so low on the side of Descent. They can't get anything through, and they just get snuffed out. And this archway is going to be so hard to break through.
100%. And Winsy, like I talked about, doubling Spacebar in the shatters he has. Spacebar only at 56% while Winsy has his shatter, along with Ashy's 3 ultimates on the side of Genesis Reborn, while we're only looking at 2 for the side of Descent. And again, they're currently playing their story out like we talked about, that edge that they need to make this hopefully a 2-1. Spacebar looking to push up here, has very limited shield.
Ooh, but the Blizzard completely separates Spacebar. But there's the push in, and the charge is gonna land. The shadow is gonna come through. It's very aggressive, and just not able to. Just incredible. Somehow turns it around.
Winsy's like, screw the individual play by Descent. Let me show you what I can do by myself. 4 people go down to the hands of Winsy. Already a third of the way there to his, what, 5th shatter this game? Janos with the window as well. Looking on the side of Descent with 3 ultimates. Meanwhile, Genesis Reborn only having 2. But from how Winsy's playing, I don't even think they're worried about that. The ball comes up from 7 Maples. So does the window. The Immortality comes out. Salty Decog picks up their own, and they're just looking to clean up here. 35 seconds remaining on this push. Just trying to stall out as much time as they can before they take this checkpoint B. However, the Lucio is still up. They could possibly get another touch.
They could get this next touch, but it has to be quick, and it looks like they're just going to try and hold around the corner, which means they're going to have about 2 fights left. But it's so doable with that minute 30 time bank, and especially with that early pick on the Salty from Budget. They're charging up these ults incredibly quickly, getting themselves ahead in the ult economy, and with only 90 seconds left, going to be around 70 once you get into this fight proper, there's not much left.
No, and if you look at it, they're holding close, so that way they don't have to rush in case they need to touch for this last fight. But looking into it, this window comes out. They're just gonna push right past it in the shatter. Oh,
Into the wall!
into the wall. I
Into
think
the
that was
main
budget
wall. That was a huge wall from Budget. Spacebar is going to get taken down with 60 seconds remaining. The beat is going to come in from Anastasia. That's an interesting use of the beat, but there's no ultimates coming up. The Blizzard's coming up later, but Anastasia's beat came very late in that fight.
Yeah, I think it was more like a panic beat just in case they needed to keep that Reinhardt alive. Speaking of Reinhardt, he does have his, like, what, 6th ultimate now? I've lost count at this point. Well, Budget does have the Mei ult. Spacebar switching over to the Ramantra. An interesting pick, to say the least, into last fight territory. God also coming up on the window itself, so this is going to be a very interesting fight. It's take all or take nothing for the side of Genesis
the
Reborn.
Shatter gets nothing. Nothing from the Shatter from Whimsy. They've got some more ults. The Blizzard getting thrown in from Seven Maples. It's gonna catch Anastasia, but Seven Maples are gonna get picked off themselves. And these trades, it's enough, but these trades really are going to favor Genesis Reborn. They need to get these staggers, and they're actually going to get staggered out. They're going to take the pick onto Ashes. They're going to get the pick. They switch over to the stall comp, and they just have to. The Deadeye's going to get the pick on Anastasia as this stall. What should have been Genesis Reborn, what could have been their next fight, what could have been a staggered in fight onto Marmora's Descent, turns into a really smart, aggressive play to allow them to push forward. But it's not over, like you said. Ashes gives that Deadeye kill onto Natasha, and these trades are favoring the defense with how close these spawns are. They need to keep alive and keep on this point. There's the Annihilation from Spacebar, just switched last fight, and now is in, and that wraps it up. Marmora's Descent, revenge achieved. Everything done. Genesis will have to be reborn once more if they want a chance to defeat this team.
And like we said at the beginning, revenge is best served cold, and in the coldest way possible. 3-0, and just amazing performance by Descent. Just weapons all around, and it was an amazing one. We were definitely wrong on our predictions, though, in terms of the score line, but right on the team. And semifinals winner does go to Descent 3-0. An amazing game, to say the least.
An absolutely amazing game. And of course, Descent moving on to the finals for Overwatch seasons. Really looking to get that bragging rights and get the championship, and they are a match closer to that. Genesis Reborn, they have conquered their demons in, well, Genesis Reborn, and I mean, Genesis Reborn definitely gonna have to go back to the drawing board, because we saw Seven Maples run rampant on half those maps, and we saw Spacebar run rampant on the other half.
100%. And can I also just point out, Salty and Nadja especially, those two players were key parts in Descent's victory throughout all the time. Salty on Kings Row especially, pulling out that Bastion and just wreaking havoc onto Genesis Reborn. And as well as Nadja, since map 1, playing the Mercy, playing the Lucio, if I'm not mistaken, playing just the flex support, and playing around just his team, or their team, and just being a monster. And like I said, Descent, they just have weapons all around, and I think that will do it here for the semifinals. 3-0 going in Descent's way.
Yeah, that was an incredible semifinals. And that's it from us here at Marmora's Esports. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in seeing more, make sure you hit the heart button. Make sure you hit the bell to be notified of any new Marmora's Esports events. Speaking of Marmora's Esports events, the Rainbow Open sign-ups close tonight. really, really important that you get in on that, and that if you want to be on this stage, the same as Descent and Genesis Reborn just were, that you get into the Discord. You just scroll down and there's a link right in there, or there should be some wonderful people in the chat willing to direct you the right way. And you can sign up. Those close tonight, so don't delay. Sign up today. Rainbow Open starts tomorrow, so make sure that you get those sign ups in right now. But that's going to be it from us, from all of us here at Marmoris Esports. Thank you from K-Wang, from our wonderful producers and observer Saxablock, from Ninja and me. See you all next time.
Bye bye.